All right, welcome to Kayfabe Culture, the first of, I guess, Rick, an offshoot of Extraordinary Culture?
Definitely. It would be called the spinoff, right?
Yeah, the spinoff, yeah. And we are, what came off the a TV show? I can't even think of something that came off a TV show at all now.
Like Frasier from Cheers?
Yeah, Frasier from Cheers. There you go. Yeah, the Vernon Shirley. The Vernon Shirley to Our Happy Days. I like that one better, actually. I think we're going to go with that.
Okay.
So we kind of decided we were talking about a lot of wrestling, but really Rick and I are the ones who watch the most wrestling. So we would dedicate something, a little bit more time to that. Not really news. I think just some reactions to stuff that we've kind of seen and our thoughts and what we think they're doing and where they're going kind of thing. So
if we happen to have heard of rumor or something, of course we'll share it. But, you know, just having a good time, dedicating a little more time to it and being able to do it a little more frequently since it moves so fast.
Yeah, so super briefly, Rick and I, of course, do Extraordinary Culture. We told you about our wrestling background. Kind of our dad watched it and took us to shows when we were little, so that's kind of how we got into it. And then when it hit big with the NWO, we kind of just kept going and have been watching on and off kind of ever since. Anything to add to that, Rick?
No, it's been a good 30 years at this point that we've been into it. So
yeah, so we have two guests with us today, and this is meant to be just kind of rotating cast of whoever can kind of join us, has the time, and just kind of wants to. So we're going to see different people on from time to time, and of course our two guests are welcome anytime they want to come on, to discuss wrestling. We're always ready to talk about it. But we've got Eric. Eric, how did you kind of get into wrestling, kind of real quick?
Okay, so I'm going to say a little bit of the age gap here. I'm a smidge older than the general crowd. Back when I was youth, Saturday morning cartoons were the thing. But if you happen to stay past the cartoons, it'd be like the syndicated shows. And I got into the WWE at a syndicated show that came on after cartoons on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm. And after Soul Train, don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
The rollerblading stuff.
No, Soul Train.
Yeah.
There was it was on. I first got into like roller derby when I was a kid, but then, which is just wrestling on wheels. But the thing that got me into wrestling was the Coconut Smash. That was the first thing I saw, the Coconut Smash.
Oh, yeah.
Snuka.
Wow.
That was my first involvement. It was a Saturday morning. I saw that, and I'm like, I'm hooked. And in a weird thing, I always knew predetermined. I'm not going to say the word fake, but predetermined. I knew wrestling was predetermined, but it never stopped me from watching it, and it still doesn't.
Sounds good. And on the other end over there, we have Anthony, who is from Mousepire, who I'm always talking about in our podcast. Anthony, how did you kind of get into wrestling?
I'm kind of go back that far, too. I go back to pretty much WrestleMania 1. Before that, all of everything leading up to that, somehow I just got into it. I don't know where, because everything was on regular TV, including, I remember watching WrestleMania on, basically regular TV. And, of course, everybody was into Hogan. I really, really latched on to, Piper. For some reason, I just really dug him, and he was always a favorite. But I watched all the way up until early 90s. I caught the very beginning of The Undertaker, and then I went on hiatus and came back in 98. Mm-hmm. And then when I went on hiatus again in 2006, and then came back in about 2013.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like what everybody does. It kind of ebbs and flows with what you're watching and kind of the way the storylines are going and all that. So go ahead.
I kind of real quick. I kind of trip on Beth Phoenix because I missed out on her whole entire original run.
Oh yeah.
She started right after I went on hiatus, and then she left right before I came back. So I'm kind of like just lately,
who's this?
I'm like, well, I mean, I know of her, and I've heard about her, but it's kind of actually cool because now I actually finally get to see her wrestle. So.
No, that's cool.
I was gonna say, does Beth Phoenix look bigger in the ring than she does on the Edge and Christian show? Like in the ring she looks massive, but on the comedy show she looks average size.
The way she's dressed, maybe?
I'm not just
that's what I would
better just in comparison to people who are in the ring with her as well.
That's true. That's you. Yeah, you're talking about just guys who are much bigger than her. So we decided to do it this week and kind of get this put out as we're talking. I'll have it put out kind of by the weekend because WrestleMania 35 just happened, and with that a bunch of different things with WWE and some other stuff. So we're kind of going to go through kind of what we watched. The first thing up, and I know not everybody watched everything, so feel free to just kind of chip in or chime in or ask questions where you have a question, because I'm sure you recognize some names even if you didn't necessarily watch it or what's going on. But the first thing that kind of happened Friday night was NXT. NXT, what did we think?
Consistently at this point, the NXT takeovers are better than the main brand Big Four. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion, and I believe it's the opinion of a hell of a lot of people at this point too.
Yeah. Now, I always hear people say that I don't really watch NXT. I have seen it. When people say that it's better, they're talking about the quality of the wrestling itself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the storylines, because it's only a 1 hour show, you do get storylines, but they're drawn out because you don't see the same wrestlers every week per se. So it's a drawn out thing. But now, okay, so Anthony, we talked about this before, like on an off air, but you don't regularly watch NXT. But what's been happening recently is you've seen some performers on the main brand, because you've seen Aleister Black and Ricochet on the main brand. So what do you kind of think of those two guys?
I mean, what can you say about them? They're awesome. They both have amazing theme songs and entrances.
Yeah,
they're awesome. I mean, what can you say? The thing is that when you get guys like that coming, and this is probably a different conversation, but when we already have a saturated tag team division. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But then again, the singles division is kind of saturated too. So it's like, well, what's the better use of those guys' time? Especially, obviously, now we're going to talk about their belt situation.
Yep. I thought it was interesting they brought them in as a tag team because they were doing single stuff in NXT and were pretty successful at it.
Yeah, I've seen them as a team. Threw me off a little bit when they first came in, but I was figuring they're just getting more bang for their buck out of bringing the guys up. If they don't work, they can, kick one down or kick them both back down. But I mean, I've only learned about Ricochet when I started watching Lucha Underground when he was Prince Puma. I'm like, who is this guy? And to be honest with you, Lucha Underground got me more into the independents. I was strictly a WWE guy. Like, I knew there was smaller wrestling out there, but I didn't know how good the quality was. But Aleister Black and Ricochet, I'm a spot monkey. I love spots. And I love seeing them go. I know it's, a lot of hype and everything, but I really like seeing them as a team.
My initial thought was, once Ciampa had to have that neck surgery, did that kind of pigeonhole Ricochet and Aleister Black into becoming a team? Was that going to be DIY's spot? I mean, I haven't heard anything either way about it, but that's kind of what's popped in my head.
I kind of think so, because I think bringing them up as a tag team was more just to get guys up there and showcase as many guys as you could that they wanted to bring in. And then that led to, him having surgery led to just like, well, let's just keep these guys going at it because they kind of got over with the crowd. But the show itself, back to kind of NXT itself, their match I thought it was really good against the War Raiders. Those guys.
That was spot after spot after spot.
Yeah, I was marking so bad. I messaged Rick.
Anthony,
you got to see this one, man.
The War Raiders, Anthony, are these two guys who are like modern day Vikings, and that's what they do. They're actually modern day Vikings. They actually partake in those like reenactments.
They do the reenactments and fairs and things like that. They're all over the place. One of them is Sarah Logan's fiance.
Yeah.
There's a husband now.
I don't know. I think they're married, actually. I think they got married.
Yeah, they got married.
So who's stick inspired who then?
I don't know. No clue there.
Actually, I want to say Rose inspired her because she was Crazy Mary Dobson on the Independents.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm trying to remember the other matches that were on that show because it was short. There was only 5 matches on that show. A lot of them went kind of long.
You don't believe it or not?
The UK belt was up there.
Yeah,
Walter. Yeah.
Pete Dunne. That was impressive. That was a good match.
Pete Dunne is amazing. What I like what they did with Walter was that Walter is this, what is he, Austrian? He's like 6'4", like 300 pounds. He's this huge guy. A real throwback to what the 80s guys look like.
Yeah, he's very old school looking.
Yeah, he's very old school looking, and just like since he is Austrian, he comes off with that kind of like arrogant way he stands there, like in the ring.
Like Cesaro?
General or something like that?
No, not
militaristic.
Like Cesaro.
A little more militaristic.
Yeah. Imagine your typical German guy standing there, Anthony. He just kind of puts his hands behind his back and puffs out his chest with this long trench coat, because that's what Walter does. The thing is, Walter's pretty agile, and he just, like, what I liked about that match is he didn't come off as unbeatable. Like Braun Strowman, the monster. Like he's backed into a corner. That guy. I'm sure we'll get into this later, but I'm over that because it's like you can't, or even Brock, you can't have a guy that you can't beat. And he didn't look unbeatable. Pete Dunne, did some stuff that you're like, oh, dude, he might take this, and then
Yeah, they took each other to the limit. It was definitely a fun match.
And of course, Walter won and is now the UK belt. Rick just actually said he watched NXT UK today, which I don't do that often. I can't keep up.
No,
with
I
that
don't.
one so
I
much.
don't either. But it was actually Toni Storm was defending her title.
Yeah, she's good too. She needs to be
Yeah.
featured more. We had the women's match.
Four-way,
the four-way.
fight.
Really
And
good
then-
four-way.
Yeah, that one had a lot of good spots in it as well. Again,
I've seen Kyrie and Io go at it. Was fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tease, yeah.
And then Velveteen Dream was against
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle, yeah.
You know what? I like both characters, but I wasn't into the match.
No, I wasn't either.
Really, I thought the match was a lot of spots, a lot of false finishes. I thought Riddle was gonna take it. It was a complete swerve to have Velveteen Dream actually win because I thought I see why they did it. I understand that, like, yeah, he just got that. You need to go through. Riddle can't be unbeatable. Like I was saying, he genuinely, his look on his face was like genuine surprise. Like, he sold really well when he actually got pinned. But like, I thought that match was actually pretty good. Riddle's impressing me more and more. I'm ready to see some more of him. But like I said, I'm not good with anybody being unbeatable. Just because he does come from the MMA world, he's got to be beatable. And it should be like MMA, like just anybody can be beat at any time. It happens.
Right.
It happens.
Yeah, I like the fact that Velveteen used his barefootness as part of it. Like, he stomped on his feet a couple times.
Yeah.
And like, people forget about those little things that you would do in real life, and you're like, oh, okay, well.
And he's one of those throwbacks too, the Velveteen Dream, in terms of his style and just.
He came out as Lady Liberty.
Yeah. Have you seen the Velveteen Dream, Anthony? Do you know who we're talking about?
Yes, I've seen a little bit of him.
Okay. Do you know any of his background or no?
No.
Okay,
I don't.
so he was actually on Tough Enough.
Oh, okay.
And
that's
he was
interesting.
when it was on MTV. I think when it did its run on MTV, and he got cut early, but he was the one that people kind of went up to in private and were like, "You've got something. You need to keep plugging at this because you've completely got something." And he is. He's really good. I love when he does the Hogan shtick.
That's
when he
great.
kind of hulks up. He'll get to that
Or when
point
he
where he
comes
starts shaking his fists and stuff, and all of a sudden, just goes for the big punches and stuff.
I think the crowd at NXT was the most hyped crowd I've seen in a long time.
They
too.
always are. They're the wild indie crowd.
Even live, I've been to a couple of NXT shows in Riverside now, and it's just the whole night is just chance. It's such a fun time, and it's only been like $20. It's totally worth it for $20 to go check it out because they put in a lot of work, and we have a good time when we do it.
And the seats aren't bad for $20 either.
No, not at the Municipal. So I feel like we're missing a match, but the main event was the 2 out of 3 falls for the title, the vacant title. Johnny Gargano.
I am such a mark for Gargano.
I'm a mark for Adam Cole.
So I am. You know, the thing is, I am for both of them.
Yeah.
But Johnny Gargano's got that old school underdog type story, and I dig it, man. I love it.
You know what was actually cool about that? How long has this story been going on with him in the belt? Like a couple of years?
Yeah.
It's been like, how long has he been chasing this belt? Which you don't see anymore. I think that's what got praised from a lot of people online was like, this story has built for like well over a year.
Yeah.
And it finally paid off in him winning the belt. I thought the match was fantastic.
It was amazing.
It was going back and forth both ways.
The near falls were, you thought Gargano was done.
Yeah.
Too many times to count.
The end there with all the kicks.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. I thought that. You know what? Honestly, that match I would venture to say has my vote for match of the weekend. Definitely match of the weekend.
I'd go there too.
I thought that was totally the match of the weekend.
Oh, I was just gonna tell Eric, we had been talking, back and forth earlier. I think the reason that I didn't give that to the War Raiders Ricochet Aleister Black match is because I saw the Gargano match first.
Oh really?
Yeah, I caught it.
Oh, you caught that weird that ending like live and then.
Yeah, I caught like the last 3 matches live, and then I went back and watched the other rest of it. That probably switched my mind on that one, but
no, I saw.
Yeah,
it the other
I
way,
love
and
that.
I still think it was the match of the weekend. So okay, that wraps up Friday night. Saturday was Hall of Fame, and Saturday was the. Did you watch the Hall of Fame at all, Anthony, or catch anything from the Hall of Fame?
I didn't see any of it. I saw a couple clips, and I know certain things that happened.
Did you see the Bret
so you
Hart
know
thing?
about the
That was. I mean, okay. First, what do you guys think of the venue? Making it in the ring instead of like at a ballroom or wherever else they do it normally.
I don't like it.
is it kind of cheapen it, right?
They cheapen it to a certain extent, but at the same token, it comes off like another promo.
Yeah, I just kept thinking I would hate it if I had a seat behind the presenter.
Yeah,
the whole time I was
true.
like, I would be pissed if I paid this much money and I sat I'm looking at your ass the whole time.
And that's where Lana was the entire night.
I think most of the talent was actually back there.
No,
Actually,
the New Day was right in front.
okay, but there was a lot of talent sitting behind them because after Bret Hart got attacked, that's where they jumped in the ring from that backside.
Yeah, that's where like Wilder and Dawson and Dash. That's
Yeah.
where they were.
I don't know, but not necessarily a fan of the setup.
Yeah, as somebody who's been to a Hall of Fame, I definitely would say that there's no way that would work for me having it like that. I just think that the stage setup is super ideal, and there's no reason not to have it like that. And if you ask me, I think it's suspicious that the first year that they don't have it like that, the thing happens with Brett. But that's just me being a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
They brought up tweets from that dude. Like,
I guess he's trained in MMA and everything too.
Yeah, and he like had some tweets to Hunter, or at Hunter Hearst Helmsley on Twitter, and I think one was at Vince McMahon. He was just
he did a couple to Vince too.
Like ramblings of like, I'm your boy, I'm ready to be called, or something like that. I mean, just
he was like, pay my airfare and I'm there. That's all it was, or something like that.
Now, I told Rick this, and because we have a group chat for the regular podcast. I didn't watch that live because I decided to watch G1, which we'll talk about really quickly in a minute. But I noticed, because I kept watching to see, like, what are they going to show for the Brett thing? Do they show it happen and then, just cut out what the wrestlers did and just get back in the ring? They didn't show it at all. Not in a replay. You only saw it live. In the replay, I watched the whole thing, and it just went through. And I was like, wait, how did I miss that? And then I happened to notice Brett's hair was out of place. So I was like, okay, you know what? His hair's out of place. So let me go back and see, like, when he first came out, was his hair out of place? And it's not. So it's obvious, like, okay, there's a certain point where they're able to cut it and edit it. So he finishes saying one thing, and then they pan off to, I think it's actually Zack Ryder. They pan off to Zack Ryder, laughing at something Brett said, and then back in the ring, and Brett starts a new sentence, and when they zoom in on him, his hair's out of place. So it's like, okay, that's where it was kind of spliced together. That's kind of interesting.
That makes sense because he was saying that after all this, he had never asked Jim if he wanted to tag team with him, and then that's literally where there was kind of a little bit of a chuckle, and that's where the guy came in.
Yeah. So they cut that out, and whenever he started again, it was kind of like, here we go. But that, again, it was the hair that made me notice. Oh, that's the point where it happened, because at one point it was all slicked back, and the next point he's got a big tuft in the back that was like pulled out of that ponytail that he had.
They went down hard. I mean, I saw a tweet about someone filmed it from the audience, and they both went down pretty hard.
Yeah, no, I watched them, but I didn't really pay attention to how hard he went down. I did hear he was sore, though. He was a little beat up.
I saw several tweets that had videos of it from different angles, and it just looked like he got really hammered. And then I saw other tweets from people that were in the audience saying that they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
They landed on him a lot of hits. That's the first rule of wrestling. You don't go jumping in the ring. You don't jump the rail.
I did see a lot of tweets from people that are not in WWE. They were like, that's how it's handled. It doesn't matter who we work for, nothing. Like, we take care of the boys, basically. That's what's going to happen. Hall of Fame. I watch it. I always kind of dread watching it because it's so long, but I end up actually kind of enjoying it. I like hearing the old stories. I think
that's exactly why, man. The Harlem Heat has some fun stories.
Oh, you know what? Okay, Harlem Heat right now, I'm going to call it nothing but class. Stevie Ray was nothing but class.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. That was my favorite of the night, actually.
I liked Harlem Heat when they were doing their thing, and those two guys I don't think had anything but class. So they get it. That should have been, other than DX. That was it.
All right, the best line of the weekend though was Michael Cole saying that next year Booker T is going to go for the 3-time Hall of Fame status with G.I. Bro.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. What did you think about the Pac's comment about naming the women's, we'll get to that too, Battle Royal, which really means nothing, by calling it the China Battle Royal? Do you think they'll ever get to something like that?
Wasn't it the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal last year?
No, it was the was it that or was it the Mae Young thing? that they renamed?
No, it was the Moolah, because
It started out as the Moolah. Yeah, it started out as the Moolah, and it was only they named it that like for 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of backlash on Twitter, and then all of a sudden they just started referring to it as the Women's Battle Royal, like with no explanation, just like out of nowhere.
Okay, I do kind of remember that happening.
Yeah, I got confused with the tournament and that.
My vote is for the Sensational Sherry. I think that'd be cool to give one to Sherry Martel.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they're ready for that. I think it was a way to get her into the Hall of Fame, putting her with DX because of, there's still the issue there. But you've all noticed they're starting to move away from PG. So I think as they're slowly as they're moving away from PG, you may see more mention of her, I think to come as they start to move away with that. And because they realize, somebody's going to Google her name and see a different kind of video.
I admittedly marked out for DX both there and at WrestleMania.
It was funny. It was funny. Their induction speech was actually really funny.
All the little shots at All Elite too were funny too.
Oh yeah, they did. With Billy Gunn saying he can't fire me, and it's like he'll buy that Fissant company and just to fire you. And hey, we're glad you could be here. And you're all in, yeah.
I'm the executive vice president of talent relations and this. He goes, I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
If you put executive vice president in your name, you're important. So he's taking a stab at the Bucks.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. That same night was G1, the joint ROH New Japan sellout of Madison Square Garden, which is the first time in like 60 years anybody other than WWE has ran a wrestling show out of the Garden. It sold out in like 4 minutes.
And really, I know WWE hyped. Was not happy about the whole even using the Garden.
No, they were not at all, but because it was New Japan at first and ROH kind of snuck in there, it just kind of happened. I watched the show. That was a long show. Everybody talks about how long WrestleMania was, but that show was about 4.5 hours long. It was really,
so it's pretty
really
close.
Long. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just going to, because you guys didn't watch it, but all I'm going to say is I think the ROH part of that stuff fell really flat. Better stuff was the New Japan stuff. If it was a New Japan match, it was a way better match than the ROH stuff. And that's unfortunate because there's some big names in ROH, including Marty Scurll, the villain who does wrestle for New Japan occasionally and is one of the elite. He's totally going to go to All Elite Wrestling when his contract's up. I think by the end of this year, I'm sure he'll definitely go with his friends. I wasn't impressed. Anytime there was an ROH wrestler in the ring, I was not impressed. A couple of exceptions. One was the tag match, the tag team match, which had the Briscoe brothers, who are ROH mainstays. Rick's one of Rick's favorites, Brody King and PCO. Do you remember, Anthony? Do you remember Pierre Carl Ouellet?
Was that one of La Resistance?
No, he was there for. Was he with La Resistance? No, he wasn't. He was a pirate. Was his gimmick. He would wear an eye patch and do this.
No, that might have been. Was that after 2006?
No, you remember him as a Quebecer. He was a Quebecer.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay, yeah, him. Okay. Oh yeah, dude, this guy has reinvented himself. He's he's 50 years old. He has this gimmick where he's like a Frankenstein. He came out and he has half his head is shaved, but he comes out like on this like an electric chair. And a guy shocked him with a car battery back to life. That's his entrance to this thing. And then he's this 50-year-old guy taking these insane bumps and jumps off the top rope, and he's super over. He's something to watch. It's really, really interesting. Last WrestleMania weekend, he actually wrestled Walter, and that's a hard-hitting match. You can see that on YouTube. If you just Google PCO versus Walter. Yeah, and it was actually a really good match. Those two big guys who were doing just crazy stuff. The dude's 50 years old and he's wrestling with these 20-something-year-olds and doing the same things that they are. It's freaking ridiculous. But it was the Briscoe brothers, those two, the Gorillas of Destiny, God from New Japan, and oh my God, who was the other team? I don't remember who the other team was. But anyway, God won. God deservedly won. That was a really good match. It was hard hitting because all those teams are kind of brutal. And then that's the match where Enzo Amore and Big Cass made their return to professional wrestling by invading, I guess, is the thing. That everybody saw video of this, I'm sure, even if you didn't watch the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I saw the video.
What do you guys think?
they played it off pretty well. If it's the work, they played it off really well because they downplayed everything.
So I got some news from that, but I want to hear what everybody else thinks about.
I think it's a
they're
work.
Make a hit. Well, okay, but what do you think about Enzo and
I think
Cass
Enzo
going
needs to
back?
pay the rent because he's the one that said he was never coming back to wrestling, right? Wasn't he only going to have his rap career going?
And Big Cass said the same thing though. He said that he would never. He doesn't like Enzo. He does.
I
he would
found
never
that
team
odd,
up with
too.
him again.
Yeah.
Unless the money was right.
So the money must be right. Apologies, because Evil and Sonata were the other two in that 4-way tag team match, and they're actually really good too from New Japan. So I saw some other video that somebody had posted that shows them coming out of not the locker room, but a lower, like an entrance from the floor, but they're flanked by security already.
Okay.
Their way was cleared by security. So it's clearly a work. Now, what I also heard was that they had kind of decided, we're going to do this, but a lot of people didn't want it, so they totally played it off like it didn't even happen. When you actually watch the pay-per-view, you can see the commentators who weren't next to the ring. They were up, away from the ring, who just kind of turn around every once in a while and look. And one of the lines was something like, just some no-name people trying to get some fame, some TV time because they're not on TV. That was actually the line the guy said.
That's great.
It was standouts from that. If you ever watch any kind of New Japan stuff, where Kota Ibushi and Naito, those two put on a hell of a match, and then the main event, of course, who I know Ryan, our friend Ryan's going to be all about, which was Jay White versus Okada. And they put the belt back on Okada, which I found interesting because Jay White, he's the up-and-comer. The up-and-comer, so interesting.
He's the newest leader of the Bullet Club, right?
Newest leader of the Bullet Club. He's only had the title for a couple of months, and he dropped it back to Okada, who's, I think, in his 5th reign now. It was an amazing match. It was not as good, I don't think, as the match we talked about with Gargano and Cole, but I think it was a really, really good match. The Bandito Ishimori Dragon Lee match was really good. Anything that involved guys from New Japan was good. If it didn't, I was kind of over it. I just was like, this kind of sucks.
And Bandito is on the rise right now. His stock is going crazy.
And he's an RH guy, but that Ishimori is why I kind of watched that, and Dragon Lee, who's from CMLL. That was a good match. That actually was a really good match, too. So it had some high spots, but overall, anything that kind of involved ROH, I was kind of like, this isn't as good as I had hoped it would be. So
they're in an interesting transition because they lost a lot of people to AEW, and they're losing people to WWE, and there's a lot of names that are coming in there from like Lucha Underground now, aren't there?
Yeah, because Lucha Underground released a lot of their talent that wanted to get out. They all got released. So I think Lucha Underground's done. I don't think we're going to see another season
I think
of that.
It's done. Season 4 was okay. It wasn't as good as any of the others.
That's a conversation for another time.
That it is. That it is.
But the granddaddy of them
we have
all.
to see season 4.
Yeah, the granddaddy of them all, the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, WrestleMania, was on Sunday. My God, I don't even know what time I started watching.
I caught it. I started from the beginning, man. 2 p.m. I had my network on. I was on there till 9:30.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was
Yikes.
supposed to go to Rick's house, and I ended up having some family coming, but I ended up flipping it on at kickoff show 2:00.
Yeah,
and everybody let me be. It was really cool.
What time did you start watching, Anthony?
Probably about 2:30, between 2:30 and 3.
You kind of just go back and forth between that and...
Yeah, I mean, I was doing things, and I just kind of, because they run their promos over and over again. It's just like, well, I've seen these promos 1,000 times, and I'm going to see these promos at least 2 or 3 times before WrestleMania is over. So I'm just going to go do things, and when I hear a match starting, I might pop in. So
yeah,
and then I'm not much for the I guess because it's just so long. I'm not much for the match analysis. And I'm like, why are we doing match analysis on something we know is predetermined? So I'm not really going to sit there and watch that. So I did start watching later. I started watching about 3:30, and I started watching from the beginning of the pre-show just so I could actually catch the matches in the pre-show.
right.
The pre-show had the 205 Live match. It had the
Which
tag
was
team.
a really good match.
Yeah, it actually
That
was.
was a good one.
The Raw tag team match, which I liked it. I thought it was good. I think that's if you're gonna have what's his name, Heath Slater finally win a match, it should be at WrestleMania. So
Kurt Hawkins.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
not
say
Heath
Heath
Slater.
Slater. Well, Heath Slater's got kids. He needs to win something.
Yeah, he's got kids.
Yeah.
Well,
Kurt
it's
Hawkins.
basically the same situation as when Heath Slater and Rhino won the belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good match.
Thank you for working.
Yeah, I like Zack Ryder a lot, so I think he hangs in there and just busts his butt every time he can, waiting for that opportunity, and every once in a while he gets thrown a bone.
Oh, thank goodness this bone has lasted longer than one night.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
I thought
You
it
know what?
was going to be a one-night
Me
thing.
too. I actually did too when I watched Raw the next night and was like, okay, are they going to lose the belts? And surprisingly, they still have them. So you get to make 2 weeks now. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Until the Usos come over.
You're right.
They got it. They have to give Kurt Hawkins at least one more win because then it's a streak. If you know your major league, then it's a streak.
3. You guys can say what you want about the Battle Royal, the men's one. I don't care. I really don't care.
It was. Oh, I can't. I know it's pointless, but it was made even more pointless by adding Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
You're in New York. You have to have Saturday Night Live.
You put Braun Strowman in a match, and automatically you have a winner.
Yeah.
I mean,
You knew that.
Yeah, when the women's battle royal is more interesting than the men's one was, then I mean, that's either doing things right or doing things extremely wrong.
Do you think Andrade took himself out on accident, or do you think he went out legit?
I can't tell because he sold it really well when he went out. He sold it well, and then he posted something on social media that had said something like, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So I was like, I wonder if he did accidentally eliminate himself.
He excited me. That part, him in it, was exciting to watch. I like
He's
watching
good.
him.
He's
Yeah.
actually really
He's
good.
fantastic.
So I don't know.
But the rest of it was just meh.
Yeah. Like I said, once you put Braun Strowman in there, it's like, you got to win.
The best part of that match was Yost wearing the OBJ Browns jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Although Braun looked, I don't know, I've never seen, he's like a kid at the swimming pool that doesn't take his shirt off ever. And he took his shirt off. I was like, damn, he's kind of fit still.
Yeah.
I heard he did change his diet because he was thinking, too, like, I'm getting a little too, like, I need to tone up rather than be so bulky. Yeah, he definitely has.
So his look was good. He looked good. I was like,
Mhm.
damn. But still.
Yeah, he just continues his ways. The women's match, the Battle Royal.
So I'm watching with my kids that match, and my son Anthony comes up and he's like, "Dad, who do you want to win the match?" And I go, "I know it's a long shot, but kind of be fun to see Maria Kanellis win."
Right.
Within 5 seconds of that, she was eliminated. So I'm like, "Oh well."
Dude, they had to be over the rainbow when Carmella took it, though.
I like Carmella.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anthony was going crazy. He loved Carmella.
I
That's
thought Carmella
his
looks like
girl.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him. I thought they
actually
were going to give it to Asuka,
I thought Sarah Logan almost had it for a second. I was like, what?
which would have been actually cool. I would have liked to.
I was
you know,
like, finally, maybe
Yeah.
she's going to break away from the squad and
Yeah.
do something.
Sonya Deville would have been good. There's a few women in there who I think could have taken that they could have helped elevate who they are. But
I wanted Nikki, but she got eliminated way
like
too
pretty
soon.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
She did start out to pretty much get everything rolling with her little antics, which I
Yeah.
liked, but she didn't last very long, which made me very uninterested, especially after Asuka was gone.
Right. Well,
And then
go ahead.
I was almost hoping for a Lacey Evans appearance during that too.
Everybody
Yeah.
thought that.
And just taking everyone out.
Right
I
hand
was
to
kind of
everybody.
hoping that would, the woman's right to everybody, and then winning the battle royal out of nowhere.
Which would have done the same as what they're doing with her now. So they could have done it. They could
Yeah,
But she's higher profile. She's working with Becky. So
You know.
I do like Carmella. I think she's gotten increasingly better. As time goes on. So
Do you think
I'm okay with the winner.
if they did something like, because what's in the Money in the Bank's next, right?
I think so.
Yes.
So wouldn't it be like give the winner of each one of those Royals a Money in the Bank match, make it a Fatal 4-Way Money in the Bank or something like that? At least make it kind of worth something.
Yeah. You mean you don't have to get a trophy that you don't take home?
Yeah.
That is kind of vulgar looking for the women's one if you look at it.
Yeah.
I like trying to see Braun try to actually pick up the trophy for them. He was struggling. You're like, yeah, that's really made out of trophy parts, dude. It's
It's made out of chocolate.
Yeah. So I chuckled when he tried to pick it. Well, he did pick it up, but the effort it took for him to pick it up made me laugh.
So far too many matches to go over one by one, and the time we were kind of allotting. So does anybody just kind of want to go through what they thought was really good about?
Good riddance to Lesnar for now, I guess.
You know what? That surprised me that it started off the show. Actually,
That's the part I marked out for.
Yeah,
because
that it kind of needed to.
I was cringing for the Hulk Hogan part. I was just like, and then he just storms right past him. I'm like, oh no, damn, what's going to happen? Because he doesn't power walk for nothing.
Right.
No.
And
That's
then
what I said. I said he knew that was going to be a long ass walk. He wanted to get it done as quick as possible.
And I fell for it. I fell for the whole beatdown before the match. I'm like, oh, God damn it, WWE.
I know. They're like, well, they're not getting the belt off him.
And then it came out and did, low blow or not, he got the belt. So
he still looked strong in defeat because he took the low blow and then 3 of the curb stomps.
Yeah,
so
that's
still looked strong in
exactly.
defeat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, no man could take that. Not 3 to the head.
Not the third one. That was.
Yeah.
So
That's a streak.
when does his current contract expire?
I don't think for a while, but it's pretty widely known that they're going to announce soon that he's going to take on DC for the heavyweight title in August. It's fully expected that that's going to be announced by Dana White like pretty soon.
So that's going to be 4 months of train time at this point, or do the Saudi Arabia show and then train.
I don't even know if he do the Saudi Arabia show. I think he might skip that and go right to the training thing because everybody knows it's going to happen. And then DC's got 2 belts. He's got the light heavyweight and the heavyweight.
Yeah.
So he's no joke, and there's some legitimate heat between those two. So I know we'll see. So I don't think we're going to see Brock for a while, but I'm definitely going to watch that UFC. I'll tell you that right now. I'm watching that UFC for sure. So I wasn't into the AJ Styles match at all. I couldn't get into it. I think Randy Orton's character is kind of boring.
Agree.
So
I like the build up for it, but the match itself was subpar.
Yeah,
I couldn't get past the point that his pythons on the superimposed pythons look like poop emojis.
Oh, that was you that put that, huh? That was you that put that up. Yeah, I saw that. And I kept trying to look at him because I kind of fast forwarded through the match because I was getting kind of bored, and I was already behind a little bit because I started a little bit later, and I was like, okay, I can kind of skip this because I'm not into it. So I think that's all I have to say about that. The next was the Usos match.
Can I just say that after Black and Ricochet dropping the belts on Friday, that I'm extremely surprised that they didn't win.
Oh, really? Because they didn't win on Friday? You thought they were going to win on Sunday?
Right.
Well, they didn't win Monday. They didn't win Friday. You assume Sunday's going to happen, and no.
I actually found it interesting that was the only, jumping ahead a little bit, that was the only championship that was held. Everybody else lost the title, right?
No, the U.S. title also got held.
Yeah, Joe.
Oh, Joe. Okay, yeah.
In 55 seconds.
Can we just talk about that match now? Okay, done. All right. Because it was that short. So
yeah. But they're building him to be another unbeatable. You don't like, but wasn't Ray really hurt?
The thing is, yeah, I think he was. I don't think he's necessarily unbeatable the way some of the other ones are because he'll lose. I mean, he lost to Angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, things like that. But I've always been a huge Samoa Joe fan for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
I've always been
really
since I started watching TNA and he was taking out Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles and walking around with a bloody towel.
Yeah. Hey,
That's always been his character. He's best at that.
Can I ask how neither Cesaro nor Ricochet threw up after all those swinging?
Oh my! Okay, I laughed at that part too. That part.
Yeah.
How on earth?
Sheamus eating every.
Number one, I'm amazed that he could do it for that long. But he is the Superman. So, but then to spin around that long?
Just iron stomachs.
I guess so. And then here's what I found it. It's like he spun him around for that long, and then when he dropped him, he put him in that Boston Crab or a cloverleaf or something, a move like that where he's. bent
The
back on his
sharpshooter,
back, the sharpshooter,
right?
something like that. But I was like, how can you immediately go from that to Ricochet went right to selling that move? Not like, oh, my head is usually like, I was like, what the? I'd be like throwing up.
Yeah, he must have a trick. He must know. That's the most I've ever seen him spin, and I'm just like,
Well, if you know, and I'm sure some of it is for safety, but if you notice, all of them actually take their arms and put them behind their head, like duck cover, style. I don't know if that's for that or just to make sure, like, if he drops me, I'm not gonna land on my head.
Right.
But something, I don't know. That was.
I did notice that too, and somebody mentioned it. I think Alicia might have mentioned it when she was walking. I was watching it with me. She thought he's covering himself up well, or something like that.
Yeah. Dangerous. Next was Shane McMahon and The Miz.
Yawn.
I don't like when they do false count anywhere matches because number one, it kind of takes away the poor fans in attendance. 80,000 can't see what's going on. That kind of sucks.
Dude, 77,000 of those fans can't see what's going on to begin with.
You knew that spot was coming.
Well, in a false count anywhere, that's what I was going to say too. That when you have a Shane McMahon in a false count anywhere,
yeah,
you know what's coming. You know how it's going to end.
Yeah,
it's going to be Shane McMahon.
They fall.
It's going to be Shane McMahon from the Titantron on top of Big Show, if I remember correctly, way back in the day.
Yeah,
you guys remember that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's that just like over and over again, and whether he does it on top of somebody or like with the Kevin Owens where he just ends up taking the bump onto a table, it's like you know it's coming. So it's like, what's the point of even having the rest of the match?
So the thing I think about that is, if you know the Miz prides himself on actually being a really careful worker, and
yes,
to see that last thing, they showed it in slow motion from the angle across from them where he picked him up, and you just see, I don't know why this stuck out to me, but you just see him lift up Shane McMahon and then just kind of fall away from the thing, and you just see his boots come off that platform and just go back, and I'm like, my God, like, who even thinks like, okay, we can do this? And it did. I don't know what it was that they landed on. I'm not saying it was completely soft, but you could tell, it had give to it.
Particle and airbag, right?
It had some give to it, definitely, but just the how high it was just like, wow. Can you imagine yourself just, okay, here I go, and just fall back with this guy that I'm holding up?
Yeah, I watched it when you in slow-mo again, like, just to analyze it, and I did see he's still careful because he curled up.
Yeah, the cradles on those necks were impressive.
Really deep. He was it's still not 100%, but, I'm with you. It's like a Triple H entrance at WrestleMania. You already know it's going to be something.
Oh, God.
And it's Shane McMahon's high spot. It's always going to be something.
So,
and I don't like bringing the father into it. I'm done with that.
Okay, that's a hell of a meme, though. Oh my God, that's a hell of a meme. James, you see, James Ellsworth posted that, and I was like, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Back to that. The women's tag match. Can I just say yes? I freaking love the Iconics.
WrestleMania is iconic.
Yes, it is. I love them. I don't even know why. We've seen them live. I just think they give so much. They're willing to do whatever it takes, make fools of themselves to entertain. So I was watching the match. I was super happy, number one, that they were even in the match to begin with, because they're the only real women's tag team there actually is. To do that, I didn't really have any hopes of them winning, but I was just happy they were in the match. And then when I see her tag herself in, I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding? Are you kidding? 1, 2, 3. I really was like, oh my God, yes! I can't believe they actually gave it to him. I'm super happy for him.
Surprised me as well. I knew it wasn't going to be Tamina and Nia, but it turns out, like, in hindsight, didn't the boss, there's some kind of personal thing going on with her or something?
I don't know.
They haven't said a lot. They just said that there was some situation that was bothering her, and she canceled Wendy Williams the next day.
Yeah. So, it's cool, and I think the Iconics are throwbacks to me as well. They're not the Puppies era,
no.
But they clown around.
Well, I posted it in that thing. They're chicken shit heels.
Yeah, they're gonna be the great
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like seeing them doing against the Brooklyn Bells. That was a match.
I want to say that it's nice to see them win the belts, because you see so many people come over from NXT and have to wait forever and ever, or just never do it. Hello Ascension,
Yeah.
John out into obscurity.
If there is one thing I know about NXT, and that's that the two of them were in NXT an extraordinarily long time compared to most other wrestlers, and I don't know if I don't know if it was because of one of the two of them wasn't ready developmentally. Maybe you guys know more about that, but I just know that they were in NXT longer than most people are.
Billie Kay made her TV debut first, and then Peyton Royce came a little bit later, but they'd been there at the same time doing the training. When they came, they formed that team because Billie Kay was the femme fatale, and she was a more serious wrestler, but when the two of them got together, it was a little bit more of a clowning thing. But it wasn't like it is now. They were still more serious and were fighting for the in 4-ways and 3-ways and stuff for the ladies championship there. When they came up, they made their characters more goofy, which is what I didn't like because it was like that's a change from what it was to be taken serious if you're going to be this goofy thing. But then they roll with it. Like if you're going to give us this dumb stuff, we're going to take it dumb and we're going to do everything we can to kind of have fun with it.
Which is good because when they first came up, it didn't seem like the crowd was reacting too positively to them, but they weren't. You're right. They used that to their advantage.
Yes, which was smart.
Someone posted that they're way more annoying live, which is what they're supposed to be.
Right. No, we've seen them live. They're so entertaining. They're wildly entertaining, which is why I'm such a fan, I think, because I was a fan in NXT, and then when we saw them live, when Rick and I went to that SmackDown back in December,
that's right.
I just was like, I love these ladies. They're going to do whatever it takes. How much do you guys want to give to the other stuff? Because you've got Kofi, but then, like, I don't know, not me. I wasn't into Samoa Joe. Well, we talked about that kind of already briefly.
We talked about that already.
Roman Reigns I wasn't into.
Yeah, that was probably the match I was least invested in.
I think the Roman Reigns was just get out there and give him the one, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like, get back on the horse kind of thing.
It was the feel-good moment.
Yeah. Let's save the big two definitely for last, the two championships. Triple H Batista real quick.
Oh, God.
Can I just say that I'm tired of Triple H spending thousands or billions of dollars on whatever stupid man fantasy he's having this week that he wants to have as a ring entrance, whether it's having himself look like he's some sort of German king with Charlotte as one of his harlots back at WrestleMania 30, or whether it's him and
Conan
Stephanie coming in on motorcycles or whatever the hell they're doing. I'm tired of it. I wish he would have lost just so we wouldn't have to see another damn Triple H stupid $1,000 billion entrance, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
I actually thought he was going to lose.
I didn't know either way, but you guys saw my meme on that online saying, somebody please get rid of the music, add The Night Begins to Shine to his ring entrance.
Yeah.
From Teen Titans Go.
Yes.
I just thought it was going to be his way of getting out of performing, but the stipulation that always stuck in my head was out of the ring, not out of the WWE.
Right? Yeah.
So I thought this was going to be a step down. Like you guys told me, when you leave, you count the lights. So I thought, okay, well maybe this is it.
But Batista retired the next day.
Yeah.
He actually did retire, and then we knew.
Actually, I heard he retired immediately after the match.
Oh, okay. Well, it made news the next day, but I believe that because we knew that was going to happen anyway. So this match was pointless to me. I watched it, but I kind of fast forwarded through some of it because I'm like, I know how this is going to end. It's pointless to watch. Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle was a snooze fest.
Yeah.
That was just lame.
I feel bad because I'm watching Kurt the last 6 months going into the ring and taking those beatings, and he has no speed whatsoever.
Baron Corbin?
And it's
or Kurt Angle?
No, Kurt Angle. He has no speed whatsoever.
No, he needs time to heal. Yeah.
He needed to be done. I feel that this was their way of saying, hey, we want Baron Corbin to get booed out of the arena pretty much for doing something like that, because they've tried to get that guy over as a heel, and it's not effective.
He needs to be repackaged.
But then the next night, Lars comes in and takes out Angle. Now he's getting booed out of the building.
Yeah.
So who's getting booed out of the building for taking Angle out, I mean...
Mm-hmm. We'll get to Lars in a few minutes, because it's... that's there, but... Finn Balor, the Demon?
I mark for the Demon. I love this shtick, but...
The makeup is getting less and less, and
yes.
by And he was almost a little bit borderline blackface in this because there was no white, because usually you have the mouth extending up onto his face, which includes white.
Yeah.
Now he was just black with the red around the eyes, so he's one step away from just being blackface the next time he comes in as the demon. Right. So they need to redesign that makeup once again.
They're just going to give him the warrior mask and the face paint, and that's all he's going to do now.
Yeah, eventually it's going to be just face paint and then the headpiece, and that's it.
Did you notice that, like, for the most part, when he is the demon, which we've only seen a few times, the moveset is no different. It's still the same type stuff. This one, I don't know why. This one, to me, seemed a little bit more faster paced.
Yeah.
And he growled. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
He was actually growling at certain times. Which, he made a point not to say anything. He wasn't smiling.
He played a much more aggressive version of himself that became that unstoppable character that you're not a huge fan of.
The moveset wasn't different, but the attitude was. That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
No, we can't. Let me just mention real quick that probably this match and possibly the Corbin Angle match may have been shortened due to time because the Triple H Batista match went over, I believe.
Yeah, that thing dragged.
Because Triple H Batista clocked in at almost 25 minutes, whereas the Angle Corbin and Balor Lashley clocked in at a combined 10 minutes.
Are you on Wikipedia as I am?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. and I was like, wait a minute, where did you get that? I'm looking right at that.
I'm surprised Lashley didn't win, though, because he had the contacts.
I didn't notice that. Contacts. That's how you combat a demon with the lights.
That was Demon Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that what it was. Ooh, I haven't seen that side of him.
That's eventually what Finn Balor's outfit's going to be when he's Demon Finn Balor.
He's just two contacts.
Just a pair of contacts.
He's actually going to turn into Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Went back to the Batista thing, just real quick. I will give him props for selling the nose ring all the time in the interviews and beating up Rick, and coming in doing his promos, because when he, ripped out the fake nose ring, it looked good.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering how they did that. I didn't pay attention to the nose ring. I was like, he didn't really rip that out, so was it just...
It was like one of those rings that, that kids slip in their nose and it has the open part.
Oh, okay.
That's freaking lame. Anyway.
I just assumed when Batista was holding his nose at some point he had taken it out.
I was having bad flashbacks to Orton and Hardy.
Oh, yeah. That one.
Oh, with the pencil.
Yeah.
Ugh, that one was kind of gross, actually.
It was a screwdriver, not a pencil.
Yeah.
And it was Hardy that got his teeth knocked out at one, too, right? From Sheamus.
No, it was Cesaro that got his teeth knocked out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought on one of the pay-per-views, Jeff Hardy got one of his teeth knocked out.
Maybe.
From Sheamus' brogue kick. Neither here nor there.
All right. Anyway, Kofi Mania.
It's good. It's fine. It's cool, I think. I mean, it is what it is.
It's fun. It's the next version of Daniel Bryan.
It gives Daniel Bryan a break, because he's been working a lot.
Yeah, but did he drop it so he doesn't have to go to Saudi Arabia?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Huh?
That's true.
Because he won't go.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all.
Oh, good pull.
Yeah, because we know that he pulled out of the last out of that one, so it's there's precedent for that.
That's
could be. And, I mean, even if Kofi's a transitional champ, good. It's still, it works. Do you think it's going to lead to a New Day breakup?
No,
not for a while.
They sell a lot of merch.
Yeah, not while it's making money.
They've been together a long time,
but they're still making money.
I keep thinking about how long ago that was that they started out, and I'm like, wow, that was a long time ago. And it's just like, it's amazing that they have kept them together so long, because even, bigger groups like the Shield and even, people like DX, they haven't even lasted as long as these guys have.
I forgot they used to be serious.
They were.
That's how long they've been around.
Yeah, because they were super heels at the beginning when they were fighting against the Usos, when the Usos were still brightly colored.
It was a Nation of Domination type thing.
Right. They want one of those two tag teams to end up being breaking the Harlem Heat record.
Oh, yeah.
They want either the Usos or the New Day to become at least 10 times. At least tie it up. So they'll keep them together for a while.
I thought that was the Dudley's record.
Dudley's worldwide is like 21 or 22, something like that.
WWE says it's 18. Everyone else says 23.
Oh yeah, because some of them are non. Yeah.
Yeah. What I've read, and I don't know how true it is with Kofi, he won't have the title by the end of SummerSlam. With SmackDown going to Fox in the fall,
Yeah.
Vince McMahon's boy for running the title going into Fox would be Randy Orton.
God, I don't.
He just it's typical Vince McMahon though. He's got the look, he's got that just the face and everything that he wants him to be the guy to carry it in. And
it just goes back to them wanting to just rehash the old wrestlers rather than they have so many new talent that everybody wants to see, and they just keep on with Randy Orton and everybody. It's just like the same old people. I mean, they might as well just have it be Cena. It would be the same. It would literally be the same thing.
Dr. Thugonomics.
Why doesn't Triple H just do it, right?
Exactly. It might as well be.
Over.
He's done it before.
But on SmackDown, you saw Orton go in and he did a RKO out of nowhere to who did he do it to?
To Ali.
Ali. And then Kevin Owens came in and did a stunner to Rusev. So is that building something you think for the SummerSlam?
I have no idea, man.
What's with him doing the stunner anyways?
Oh, they just wanted something new. And I heard he actually asked Steve Austin, "Can I use the stunner?" And he was like, "Well,"
because he's still using the pop-up powerbomb. So it's like, why do you really need a second move that bad that you're going to be just using a rehashed move?
I think that's going to get you
on his knees too.
I don't know, maybe.
Well, I suppose that's possible, yeah.
Then
because that's what I thought. Powerbomb? I thought they had him doing it because he wasn't able to do the pop-up powerbomb anymore. But then he did the pop-up powerbomb, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's not that, I guess.
I think it also establishes him as a face.
Yeah,
because that move is so
it's a relatable move. So if he's on SmackDown, people know the stunner. They're like, oh, it's a more general public reaction to a stunner than the pop-up powerbomb.
Yeah, let's go to the main event. My biggest fear going into this whole thing with them saying this is the first ever women's main event is that it was that test run of if this falls flat, then
never again.
We told you so. Let's stick with the men. It was kind of that chauvinistic mindset to it.
True, but it's so hard because the beginning of the night when Brock dropped the belt, that was the start. Everybody's still hyped up.
Yeah.
By midnight East Coast time, right?
Yeah. It was late.
And that's the other thing is, hey, we've been watching for 7 hours.
Yeah. It couldn't live up to the hype by that point because you're burned.
Well, you could hear it in the crowd too. The crowd just wasn't as they you could hear them sometimes, but it wasn't like earlier in the night where they were constantly vocal.
Did you see those pictures? There's pictures floating around of the arena, of the stadium there, like 10 minutes after the main event was over, almost completely empty already.
Was it?
Like that fast? People just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, all right, let's get out of here. Because it was like that late already.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because I don't think, I'm sure we'll talk about the finish.
Folks got work on Monday morning.
Yeah. But I don't think the match was bad. I thought the match was actually pretty good until the end. And I'm not talking about the shoulder, not at all. It actually was that it kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it was like I don't know that there was really a build-up to all of a sudden. Ronda picks her up in the fireman's carrier, is going to do whatever. All of a sudden, she pulls that crucifix thing, and it was like over. It just seemed all of a sudden like...
Well, so the word is that that's not how it's supposed to end, right?
Well, I've heard two different things.
So that's what I've heard.
I've heard that they used a wrestling move to finish it instead of the armbar to keep strength on Ronda, but also to show that she still it was a win by wrestling, not by MMA style stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But it did seem like it just came out of nowhere.
I heard that there was issues that because the show was already going long, that they cut the match. I heard that Ronda messed up several times and that they were fed up with it and that they just wanted to end the match. And then I also heard that the match was supposed to end on a disarmer to Charlotte.
Yeah. I've heard that too, but I've also heard that it was supposed to end like that, but it was on the referee who didn't watch the shoulder to make sure it was down before he actually counted 3. And it was kind of on the referee that it wasn't a botch. It was supposed to end that way, but he didn't time it right.
Who in turn got quote unquote fined, which I've never heard of.
I did hear that too, that he got fined because he messed up.
Oh wow!
And Corey, I don't know. Jim Ross, I know, never liked to know who was going to win because he wanted the reaction genuine. But did you see Corey Graves all of a sudden say, "Oh no, wait!" Like her arm, and then all of a sudden he shut up. Did you notice that watching the pay-per-view? Like he was saying something like, "Was it supposed to end that?"
Immediately, well, no matter what, this is a winner.
We know somebody yelling in his earphone, "Shut up!" That's not stop talking about that.
Yeah, which was probably Vince.
Right, saying something. So I don't know. We'll see. For now,
so he probably got fined too.
I don't know. Not that I heard. I heard that match. Actually, I heard 2 referees got fined. I can't remember who the other referee was in a different match that got fined too for messing something up there too. I don't remember, but I did hear that too. That there were 2 referees that were fined because they messed up, and it was like to show like, hey, you guys need to be on this. Like you have to make sure that it looks legit. So I don't know.
So do you think they're doing that for when they go on Fox to give it the more legitimate of a thing?
I would. Honestly, my feeling with this in general is if you want to present it as something that's real, it needs to appear real, and anybody can lose at any time.
Yeah.
If you want to make it look like it's an actual combat sport. So, I mean, that's what I think. Really, really quick, because we're kind of going long on time because we talked about so much. Thoughts on Raw and SmackDown kind of at the same time?
These were my least favorite Raw and SmackDown.
SmackDown was boring.
Me too. I felt kind of, it wasn't the typical, didn't feel like the same kind of atmosphere.
No.
Yeah, we didn't get as many NXT introductions as what we usually get. Although I think that Undertaker may have been an excuse for not having so many NXT people.
Okay, what was up with his hair?
He's going on a Gallagher tour afterwards.
I couldn't tell if he had a skullet or if part of it was dyed and just not the front.
I going with skullet. I think I saw shine from the lights.
Boy's getting old, man. It's a skullet.
I don't understand why he just doesn't shave the head.
He had it shaved before.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when he was the American Badass, right? Or
No, he had it
even more recently.
Actually, when he lost, didn't he have his head shaved when he lost?
Yeah.
So then is that even real hair?
It's not Kane, so
Well,
I think it is real
how
hair.
can someone grow that much hair?
There has been times where he'll come out with a hat that does have the hair in it. But
Yeah. When he's not actually taking it off. Yeah. While his grows out.
The Hulk Hogan bandana.
Yes.
Oh man. Anyway.
I think it was kind of lackluster. I know that Becky needs to do the route. They're making it like there's no brand split on both shows because everybody was on everything.
Yeah.
All right, man. They got me there. They swerved me there with the whole winner takes all. I'm like, are they gonna end the brand split?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what they wanted you to think.
And then they pulled off that attack, and then the draft is next week. So I'm like, well, they got
What
me.
if no brand split, but championships are all just there's only one championship for each thing?
And the only comment we get is, "We'll do this another time." Seth Rollins. So.
I'd love to see a ladder match between the two of them for that.
SmackDown was a yawn. I can't think of
definitely.
anything I liked on SmackDown other than Iconics. I can't think of anything that stood out to me from SmackDown. I don't even remember who wrestled on SmackDown, and I was talking to Anthony earlier today. I watched it earlier today. I can't even remember who wrestled on it.
Oh, it was tag team match after tag team match after tag team match.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, I don't want to get into the Hardys. It's going to take too long.
We're gonna have ourselves a tag team match.
Yeah.
Leo?
Can I just say that I don't know how long you guys think that they're gonna keep Becky with both belts. I don't like the idea of unifying the belts. I certainly hope that's not what they're hinting at, because otherwise it defeats the whole purpose of having the 2 belts, and it would really be. It's just, I don't know.
I think having the single belts is not a bad idea now that they have the tag belts, because you're gonna see competition as tag team division and as a singles division, and there's not enough female superstars to warrant having the 2 titles at that point.
The 2 tag team titles?
No, the two women's singles titles.
I don't know.
I totally disagree with that, because I mean, then you got people like Kairi Sane, who's probably going to be coming up soon, and anybody else that's going to be coming up soon. I mean, next year is going to be Pirate Mania, so you got to have Kairi Sane on the big show by the time next year's WrestleMania comes around.
Yeah.
And I think there's plenty of women who can, and it's totally unfair if they're going to combine the belts, because you need to have 2 belts. If you don't want to have one championship belt, then at least come up with like a U.S. or Intercontinental type belt for the women.
Right. I agree with that, but I don't see how you can take what they did with giving Becky both belts because she's so hot and think, okay, I'm only going to put up this belt and I'm going to lose that belt. How does that doesn't help her character any at all?
Jay Lethal did it.
Did he?
Yeah. He was the TV champion and the world champion Ring of Honor at the same time.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Roddy Strong kept wrestling for the world title and couldn't win it, and he eventually won the television title off of him.
Okay. I guess it's possible, but it just seems awkward.
Yeah.
Jericho had 2 belts, I think, at one point, didn't he?
He won what was considered the undisputed belt, and they immediately combined them on Raw the next night.
When he beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night.
Yes, I remember that pay-per-view very well.
Yeah, so, I don't know. On Raw, I can't even remember what happened on Raw. We got The Undertaker.
Got Lars.
Lars, you want to talk about Lars?
Yeah, Lars. As long as they don't book him, the dude's a freak. His best match has been that, Rick, you'll remember this one. Eric, you may too. The very first North American title match, the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was his finest moment. I think he can do stuff, but again, you book him like a monster, and you got another Braun Strowman.
I kept seeing, I can't even remember the dude's name. Feed me.
Oh, Ryback?
Ryback.
I keep seeing visions of Ryback with him.
No, I think Lars is better than Ryback. So, time will tell. You got to watch what you do with him because he is such a big, it's such a big dude. If they book him like a Braun Strowman or something like that, it's not going to lead anywhere. He has to be.
Yeah, it's too hard when you get guys on those streaks like that and things like that. Like, that was my biggest thing with Asuka, is how do you end that streak? And
Absolutely.
I don't think they ended it well.
Nope.
No, but she still got time to make that up somehow. But, it's time will tell.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else from Raw that stood out to me.
No, like I said, these were some of the more lackluster moments after Mania that I've seen in a while. You didn't get a big debut like Samoa Joe or, any of those big names coming back. I mean, Sami Zayn was nice to see come back, and then they put him back in that stupid I don't like people angle.
Yeah, and did you see that there was a spot between him and Kevin Owens after the taping on SmackDown?
I did not, no.
Yeah, there is video of it. It's very similar to the spot with the Shield after Raw, where it was all off the air.
What happened?
Just Kevin Owens just basically telling Sami Zayn that his time will come and stuff like that. I didn't watch it. I just kind of, I saw that they had a moment, and I was like, well, that's interesting. I don't know why they keep doing these things off air. I mean, it's something like that they should keep on air, but whatever.
He just basically was saying that the crowd's not worth it. These people aren't worth your efforts.
Was it a WWE.com exclusive?
No, I saw it on somebody's Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
So it was live in the arena.
It's weird because they obviously, if they're trying to push Kevin as a face, then maybe they just didn't want to have that interaction between the two, since they're obviously continuing Sammy as a heel. Did you want to talk about Lacey Evans anymore at all?
I don't. Rick, did you have anything? She attacked
or where you think they're going with her as far as related to
she's Vince
Becky.
McMahon special, so she'll end up doing very, very well.
At least she for real is a tough lady, at least in real life.
Yes, she is.
She's a tough lady. So.
Oh yeah, she was a military.
Yeah, Air Force or something like that. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with her. I just you don't need her pushed too quick. It's gonna fall flat if you push her too quick.
Bray in the box.
Oh God.
I find him boring. I don't care what he does. I find him boring.
Oh, it's my boy.
The only thing I want is for him to come back and reunite the Wyatt family along with Daniel Bryan and Luke Harper
and Randy Orton.
Rowan. Get them all back together.
We need to have another show on Stables because I have high opinion on Stables.
Yeah,
you love Stables.
I love Stables.
Unless anyone has anything else, it's probably time we wrap up.
I'd just like to say, gentlemen, I had fun. I would be more than happy to join you on this venture again.
Yeah.
Same.
All right, I think that's going to do it. First episode of Kayfabe Culture is in the bag. All right, I think that's going to do it.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It was actually pretty fun.
Kayfabe Culture is part of the Extraordinary Culture podcast universe. You can email us at exocast@yahoo.com. We're also on social media. You can find us on Instagram at exoculture. We're on Facebook at exocult. We're on Twitter at exocultcast. You can listen to Extraordinary Culture or Kayfabe Culture on Podomatic, iTunes, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. You can YouTube Extraordinary Culture Podcast, or you can ask your smart home device to play the Extraordinary Culture Podcast.